Okay, you are good to go, Kaylee.
Good afternoon. My name is Kaylee Robinson. I'm the program specialist of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and we are in week 7. Can you believe it? Week 7 of Mothers Against Drunk Driving Summer Enrichment Series. So today we have a wonderful guest speaker. Her name is Tamika Ellis, and she will be discussing MAP, the organization, and of course we're going to transition to her after I do my spill on MAP. But today's topic is 5 times more likely. 5 times too more likely do what? So I want to introduce you to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD's mission. Next slide, please. MAD's mission is to help fight underage drinking, to fight drug driving, and of course, support the victims that have been affected by this 100% preventable crime. Turn your pain into purpose. Today's agenda is things to talk about, things to think about. You want to go back to that? We can actually play this video, please.
It's not playing, Kaylee.
That's okay. We can go to the next slide.
Okay.
So things to think about today in this agenda, the issue for underage drinking and drug driving, the future, and of course, we will finish our webinar with question and answers. But first, we want to do a poll question. Let's think about who is actual demographics on this call today. So once we capture that, we're going to go on to the next slide. Things to think about, okay? We have 6 people on this call today, but we have 5 people on this actual slide. So out of the 5 people, impaired driving affects us all. What are reasons why people used to think it's okay to drink and drive impaired? How would you feel if someone you loved or you knew was hurt because of your choices? And how would you feel if you were directly impacted? Of course, and how can you help drive MAD's mission today? So 2 out of 3 people have been affected. But the real issue is statistically. I'm really big on stats. It pushes the funding, right? But we want to think about the actual people that have been affected. We talk about statistics all the time, but really 2 out of 3 people, 6 people on this call, you know, that means that 2 people have been affected. 4 people have been affected actually statistically. But fatalities. We all drive the Georgia highways and byways, but nationally, 10,876 people have been killed by drunk driving or drug driving. But underage drinking, our passion is always talking to young people about the dangers. 21 is a legal drinking age. But we really want to talk to them because guess what? It's hitting our hospitals, but it's also hitting our pockets. Next slide, please. Meet Philip today, please. That's fine. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll keep moving. All right. College consumptions by the numbers. We're going to talk about the good. All right. College age is usually that 18-year-old just fresh out of high school, transitioning to 21. And of course, they're dealing with people that are now 21 and older. But 3 out of 5 people actually don't binge drink. Binge drink means a lot in a little bit of time. Okay, but we have some children or some young people that say, I'm not going to drink at all because of recovery, various health issues, and just decided not to drink at all. That is the good. Next slide. The bad. These are the people that actually have been affected by drunk driving. These are people that are needing transition and treatment. 1 out of 4 people have actually reported consequences because they're drinking, because now they're behind in class, the bad grades, and of course, missing papers. They're just missing the gap here. But the real problem with the good, the bad is the ugly, okay? Those college age kids between 18 and 24 are dying because of alcohol-related causes. So we have to continue to educate the young people, right? Finding alternative ways to get home. Number 1, 21 is a legal drinking age no matter what. You cannot drink, okay? But if you're over 21, make a plan of action, making sure you have a sober designated driver and have alternate transportation to get you home if you're over 21. Using Uber, Lyft, the MARTA, Mass Transit, that'll get you home safely. Or decide, just don't drink at all. Another poll question. Youth who start drinking young are 5 times more likely to, and these are your options. And I'm going to submit my response. I'm going to discuss that later. Wow, that is true. Become alcohol dependent. And always, if you're over 21 or even under 21, be a friend. Have an open heart, open spirit of saying, you know what, I think you have a problem with alcohol or drugs. Talk to them about how they feel. Let them know that we are very concerned with your behavior and we're here to help. We have resources here available. That's why we have MAP here as well. But also on campus, let them know that they can talk to a social worker, they can talk to a counselor, they can talk to an advisor. But there's a 1-800 number that's readily available. It's always available 24 hours a day. Or just decide to have alcohol, have a party, and have fun, alcohol-free and drug-free. I want to introduce you to Tamika Ellis, who is from MAP, and she will be going over her slides today. Thank you for joining us, Tamika.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. Me, I should say. So kind of to jump right in, I wanted to go ahead and just kind of give a quick overview of MAP, and that's what this particular slide entails. So MAP Health Management is a organization that was organized in 2011. And the reason particularly why it was organized was because it was found that individuals who seek treatment and go into long-term treatment really do really well, particularly for those individuals between, like you mentioned, Kaylee, the 18 to 25-year-olds. But what we did see too was individuals, once they leave treatment, tend to struggle, usually after the 30 or the 60-day mark. So as a result of that data, MAP was able to take it and come up with an alternative plan for individuals to maintain long-term recovery and engagement once they leave a formal treatment setting. So what that looked like is we are a telehealth platform, and we're offering options with individuals who are substance use dependent, and we're connecting them with other individuals who have a substance use disorder as well. And so we're making that connection through experience, which allows those individuals who are currently in recovery or work in a program of recovery to be able to connect with other individuals in recovery and kind of, you know, follow them as a mentor to kind of help them through the process. I'm trying to see what else. For the most part, what we found is if you engage individuals for 12 to 18 months following a formal treatment setting, individuals become way more invested. They tend to build rapport with other individuals quicker, and long lasting when they're able to have that connection. And on top of all that, the biggest piece is we're able to gain and gather data. So this data allows us to kind of take it back and manipulate it in a lot of different ways, which is one of the ways is to kind of push it back to organizations like MAD or treatment settings and that sort of thing. So overall, that's who we are. The next slide, please. So one of the things that we do in the particular setting for us is we, like I mentioned before, we offer the peer support services. So we're setting these individuals up and connecting them with people they can relate to. So that looks like if this person is, if their drug of choice is alcohol, then we want to align that individual with someone else who may be an alcoholic, or that may be their drug of choice. Or if it's something else like heroin or meth or any of the other substances, we tend to want to make that connection that way. We are gender specific. We do think it's important to align individuals with a particular gender, so all those issues can be addressed and identified the same. We offer 24 hours, 7 days a week availability, because we do know and realize that addiction or drinking or substance use does not follow a particular time. And so with that being said, we do like for our individuals to be available at all times. Our integrity model, as you can see here, is basically our peers are certified through NADAC, which is the National Drug Addiction Council. And we have them make sure that they are able to do a continuing care, that they're able to stay connected with their CEs and that sort of thing, CEs being continued education. I mentioned already the peer matching, which is the gender, the age, sexual orientation, and the drug of choice and other considerations is another piece that we use. Another piece that's really good is, like I mentioned, we are there for individuals who have done a formal treatment setting or, stint of treatment, whether that be a residential program, an IOP, which is intensive outpatient program, a PHP, partial hospitalization program, or OP, which is just an outpatient program. For those individuals who have done that, we're available to assist, but we're also available to assist those individuals who have no desire to do that, or they've done that in the past and that didn't work for them. And so they just want an extra level of accountability. So as a result of that, this means that there's no geographical constraints for us. As long as an individual has a laptop, access to their smartphone, iPad, whatever that device is, they're able to connect and have that support using the recovery peer services. The data reporting capability is another important piece. In fact, that's one of our top priorities, is just collect data. What you may have heard or hear often is we're scientific based. A lot of facilities, treatment centers, a lot of jargon includes that language. And what we have found out is people use that very loosely. And so we are very, we're very particular about the information and how we use it. But what we do is we take the data and we're able to really scrutinize it and really use it because we are able to gather it for 12 to 18 months. And so this is information that we're getting from folks who have stayed connected with us after, we'll say, for the formal treatment setting. And then another piece that's just real important is just the component and the support of the family. Families are indirectly pulled into addiction, substance use disorders, individuals who have chemical dependence use or chemical use involuntarily. So we definitely know it's necessary for folks to be able to include their family. Whoever that supportive family is, it doesn't have to necessarily be a biological family member. It could be just a supportive friend, a significant other, but we do want someone who is able to engage and be supportive. And so we're able to make that network as well. So that's another important, huge component that we incorporate into our service. The next slide, please. So last but not least, this is just kind of a overall flyer of who we are, what we do, and how we can be connected. Again, what I would encourage you to take away from this is particularly with the pandemic that we're currently in, and how alcoholism or substance use disorder is currently on the rise. It's even more so something that's rearing its head with the current situation as a coping mechanism for different individuals. So again, being able to have a a lifeline where you can just pick up your telephone, and you're able to pick up and connect with your computer and get someone on the line and be able to speak with that person and have that session or that that talk that individual off the ledge sort of conversation is primarily what MAP is and what we pride ourselves in doing. I will just close and say that we again have the connection through experience piece. Our peers are a minimum of 9 years in their own recovery, and they are available 24/7, 365. It can be again contacted using that was a lot of information. I'm open to any questions, but that concludes my component. Thank you.
I love the fact that you are very transparent about the organization. I love the peer-to-peer support. So that means that somebody has gone through similar situational addictions, or whatever their connection is, and they'll place that to that person. So
Absolutely.
a question, that peer, how can that peer, and what's the length of that person getting to that peer level to become a peer supporter, specialist or recovery support person?
So in order to, if you're referring to kind of what the process or the criteria is, individuals have to be, of course, like I mentioned, in their own recovery. They have to have a minimum of 3 years of their own stable recovery and currently work in a program to include, a meeting sponsor, that sort of thing. In addition to that, they have to be a state certified within the state that they operate in as a peer support service representative or recovery coach. And then also too, that last piece is the national level. So they have to have that national certification as well. And to have that national certification, it does kind of prolong it out a little bit because they have to sit for a test and they have to do all of that. So on average, you're looking at a total of about 12 months. Actually become a peer. And for us, and then once they even kind of come on board, then we have our own sort of rigorous, qualification or whatever in terms of our clinical care and stuff that they have to follow through on a continuous basis.
Wonderful. And this is week 7 for us. And so in week 6, we actually had a Drive Smart Start was with us, and they have the interlock device. So again, full circle of providing services for the community, because I believe personally that, we really want to rectify the person that comes to our victim impact panel classes. And usually there's a substance abuse, or it could be a problem or some awareness that their family has identified, or the police officers have identified legally, that will get them to where you are. And that's really where we're providing treatment to, or not necessarily treatment, but peer-to-peer support, so they get to that next level of being their best self. So that's why I wanted to include it in our series, because we don't want to get to that point. That's why we talk to young people before they even start.
Right.
Now they're on their own, now they're dealing with peer pressure, now they're going to prom. So this is like a segue of these adult responsibilities that we're dealing with. Good question. Is there a cost affiliated with this?
That's a great question. Actually, so we do accept insurance. We are covered by, or right now in Georgia, we're covered with Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we're currently working with getting on the panels with United Healthcare. But if you have an individual who's looking to do a self-pay rate, our self-pay rate is $45 a month.
Wow.
That $45 a month includes, again, the 24/7 peer-to-peer support the support for the family members, and then also to the minimum of, and when I say this gets a little tricky, so I want to make sure that everyone understands it. So we do 2 sessions per month with the individual when they call. When that's actually the peer reaching out to that individual and just kind of checking on them and just, kind of supporting them in that way. Those sessions typically do gather some of the data that we need, in addition to just kind of checking in. But with that being said, the person in recovery can reach out to their peer support specialist at any given time. So you can contact the person 2 times a week or twice a month, or it could be, I'm struggling this week, and I'm contacting this person every single day per week. So that does not, the times that they reach out does not impact or infringe or change that $45 a month for that self-pay rate, if that's something they choose to do in terms of not using insurance.
Okay.
So is this program based on like a self-referral, or is this something that would come from a court, or do you do both?
So we, right now, for the most part, we work with primarily like treatment centers, other clinicians and professionals, practitioners, physician offices. So normally those are just kind of referrals from those individuals or those particular organizations. But really all we would require, or whatever things, is just the individuals has to have a substance use disorder diagnosis. Doesn't necessarily have to be primary, but it has to be there, again, because the peer recovery support specialist, that's their expertise and that's their area. And so that SUD diagnosis does have to be in place. And we also encourage that the individuals are able to operate under a lower level of care, which meaning if there's any secondary diagnosis, they're able to contain that with medication and be self-sufficient, outside of a treatment facility or whatever. But yes, to answer your question, Teresa, it can come from really anywhere as long as that SUD diagnosis is there.
Okay, so they would already have to have that initial, they know they have that issue before they would come to you.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's still, this is an amazing program.
It is.
Thank
it is.
you. Thank
And
you.
that
Yeah, we
peer-to-peer support is
definitely.
what we need. I think, Tamika, Ms. Ellis, you've been in treatment for a very long time, but when you came on board with MAP, that was a different type of treatment because you realize that peer-to-peer could almost always be there or be testimonial.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, I have so I've been in behavioral health, particularly substance use on that side of things for over 18 years. So I've done the gamut with individual therapy, family therapy, group therapy, like all of it. And what I do realize, even in the times when I was doing, addiction counseling, is that there has to be that ongoing support for individuals once they leave. Individuals do really well once they are in a structured environment and they have direction and they have accountability. It's usually when they leave and don't have that is when we tend to see an individual struggle. And so being able to set them up with someone who can kind of connect to them and help them through that transitional stage and returning to those life skills and kind of getting through those trigger points and kind of making the next right decision is usually a game changer for sure, to be able to maintain their recovery. Yeah, so we like to definitely step in and encourage and help people so they don't relapse. But also too, we do understand that relapse does happen. And so even during that part of the stage, we also, it's just as instrumental for us to stay connected with them through that process as well.
Wonderful. Well, if there's any other questions. All right, Ms. Ellis, we do appreciate your time. The clarity of the organization is very affordable. And of course, that peer-to-peer support is key with getting them through the next step. Mothers Against Drunk Driving will always be an advocate for people that have been affected by drunk driving and drug driving. So we will continue this mission until we get to 0.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So we thank you for your time. And if you have any other questions, you want to go back to that website again, possibly, if anybody wants any direct contact with you.
Of course, yes, and I will actually say it too. It's pretty easy. It's thisismap.com. And that kind of gives you a complete overview of our program and how it breaks down, most certainly. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to that, as well as the phone number on the screen here is also another resource.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for your time, and we look forward to what's more to come with This Is Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.